This meeting is of the Board of Education and Public for the purpose of conducting school district's business and is not to be considered a community meeting. There's time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda item for members of the public. Roll call.
Mrs. Victoria is out. Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Katsowski?
Here.
Dr. Fox?
Here.
Mr. Thorson?
Here. Pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda and addendum items?
There's one addendum to the agenda tonight, that's under personnel, category A, number 7, the change in contract status due to the accruing additional hours by the teacher effective.
Okay. So then we need a motion to approve the agenda with that. Do I have a motion? And move. Second. Okay. Roll call.
Dr. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Katsowski?
Yes.
Do I have a motion for the meeting minutes of August 24th, 2015, the regular meeting, and September 16th, 2015, the regular meeting? Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Okay, roll call.
Dr. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Katsowski?
Yes.
Remarks of the public?
I got one, sorry.
Does anyone like to speak? Okay. Okay, superintendent's report.
As you know, districts today are forced to handle great amounts of data as it relates to student achievement, attendance, a whole host of topics. Tonight we're going to be asking the board to authorize our exploring a relationship and entering into a relationship with a company known as Infinte Campus. And prior to that time, I would like if a couple of our staff members tonight would present to us a report relating to Infinte Campus. Ken and Tony?
Good evening.
I don't know if you guys know, this is Tony Warren. She's a munis coordinator for the district. And one of the things, Tony has some great background knowledge on both Infinte Campus and Dallas. So we're in a good place right now. So that's positive. Infinte Campus, if you take a look at the slideshow presentation there, when Dallas was implemented into district, it was probably about 5 or 6 years ago. It was effective and reliable. Infinte Campus was deemed a Cadillac of software. Was very, very expensive. The cost of both products have over the last couple of years evened out, and Infinte Campus is now the competitive in price in Dallas. In fact, with the implementation of Infinte Campus, other purchase software can be eliminated that we paid separately for, because it will be housed in Infinte Campus. Some of the 5 top reasons we would like to convert to Infinte Campus is that LGCA will be phasing out the support for DASL. We'll go into these a little bit deeper. It will provide parents and students with easier access to academic information and better communication between teachers, parents, and students. It will cost savings to the district through our annual cost, elimination of add-on products, and ability to streamline data entry. It will give us real-time viewing of information, and along with that, the ability for more accurate reporting of data to state and federal authorities for public funding.
Ken and Tony, would you for a moment just sort of put this in perspective by explaining what DASL is? In fact,
Yeah.
we're already utilizing DASL and we're proposing a move to Infinte Campus.
Okay.
Dazzle, right now we use Dazzle with our student software, which records all of our, everything, academics, attendance, everything to the state. We use it to communicate with the parents. It's an older technology. It's state ODE uses it a lot, but it's running its course.
One of the things we get the support with Dazzle, with the software that's there, that we get support through our LGCA. What's going to happen, if you notice, over here, Lake Geogga Computer Association has indicated to us that they're going to eliminate the support for Dazzle. They're getting rid of it, the support there. And I think the closest place that will have support will be in Youngstown, possibly. Possibly, and we're unsure of that as well.
Will that take place? I mean, will they stop supporting it this year, or they already have started?
They started eliminating some of it.
It's very limited right now, the training.
Yeah. And so what will happen is that LGCA will support all of the Infinte Campus support when we get into that as well. Okay? Currently, LGCA provides very few training opportunities for DASL users, and those opportunities become less frequent over time. Nearby information technology centers have already limited their support for DASL as well. As you know, that we do have a parent and student portal that they can see progress book off of. Infinte Campus provides a mobile app for parents and students to access student information. The portal also provides enhanced communication via email in the base product. Teachers, students, and parents have the ability to communicate with email directly in the software without having to leave the application. So if they're looking in progress book and they're looking at the grades, now what we have to do is they can look at it, but then have to log out and use our email accounts. Here they can look at it and directly just email the teacher and say, can you help explain this? It's not an in and out problem. Elimination of adding separate components. The special ed component of Infinte Campus provides the district with a tool for writing and reporting all special education compliance requirements, eliminating the need to purchase IEP anywhere for writing IEPs and ECRs for students. The discipline component of Infinte Campus provides tracking and reporting of all discipline events, eliminating the need to use public school works for entering discipline events for reporting and tracking. So these are some of the cost things that we have in DASL. We purchased another software program, it's called IEP Anywhere. So that's an added cost. In Infinte Campus, it's all combined in there. We also have public school work. There's a discipline component to it. We're paying for that as well. That is already in the package for Infinte Campus. So it's housing everything all in one package rather than paying for separate ones. Language capability, we can change if a parent is speaking of Spanish, Russian, German, you can change all of that component to their native language. Grade cards, along with other reports and documents, can be made available on the parent portal, eliminating the need for printing and mailing these documents home. So our grade cards that go home every 9 weeks, we can eliminate mailing. The parents can look on there, and there will be the grade posted. So we kind of eliminate all that mailing going out 4 times a year, along with progress reports that we send out of U.S. mail. One thing, DASL requires a 24-hour turnaround to update any data. So if we're in need of data on a quick turnaround, we still have to wait 24 hours. With Infinte Campus, it's ready time, real time available. So whatever we put in, it turns it over. Infinte Campus can be customized to the needs of the district for tracking information without maintaining separate spreadsheets. A lot of us maintain separate spreadsheets for attendance, for IEPs, for ECRs. All of that can be housed within the system. The state of Ohio is currently working to become compliant with national level requirements. By changing to Infinte Campus, a national software, WestGBrd will stay one step ahead of what is coming in the future. DASL is a statewide software with older technology, so it's not producing the things that we need at the national level. Direct contact with software provider. LGCA is a participant in bi-weekly focus groups, calls with Infinte Campus designers. This allows WestGBrd to work with LGCA for enhancement requests with Infinte Campus. DASL has their own user board and does not include ITCs or districts when considering enhancements to the project. And one of the things Tony does, there's a weekly thing with LGCA that they're able to go to, talk a little bit about the issue, and pretty soon that's going to be gone and we won't have anybody there. Infinte Campus is rolling out a new learning management system which will contain its own Blackboard function for online learning. And Infinte Campus provides enhanced training through a subscription to the campus community and online resources provide staff easy and immediate access to software support. Campus community provides web-based information and any module of Infinte Campus through multimedia, through webinars, PDF documents, and step-by-step videos. What will change student software provided to the district? There are multiple reasons to consider changing the district's student information software. Student software is a key factor providing effective communication and access to parents and students of the academic progress and planning for the student's future. Along with that, student software is also the key to providing effective, accurate reporting of student information to local and federal entities, ensuring that the district receive accurate funding through the state's foundation. If you look at the cross comparison up there, it is right now, like I said, Infinte Campus was a Cadillac 5 or 6 years ago. Prices are pretty compatible. If you take a look, the base product is $561 per student. We pay $255 for the grade book, which is an additional purchase that we have. And we also pay IEP Anywhere $1.25, additional purchase. Total cost per student is $9.41 out of Dazzle. Infinte Campus, with all of those things that are the college that we just talked about, is all in the system. So Infinte Campus base is $8.70. The campus community is 50 cents. And total cost per student is $9.20. It's not a big savings, but it's a savings over time. Now, there is one-time conversion. That means all of that data that's in Dazzle has to be converted over to Infinte Campus. With the support of Tony, with the support of our secretaries, with the support of LGCA, all that data has to be dumped into the new system. There is, and this is what we were told there, that it's a maximum conversion fee of $10,000. That's the maximum. It's not going to go over. We yet don't know the price of what the conversion cost will be.
There are 5 districts that are currently on Dazzle under LGCA, and so depending on how many of those will convert, they're trying to have everyone convert over to the campus.
5 out of how many?
Do they support like geography, all the schools, so
Yeah.
all of ours.
There's only 5 left.
So that, I'm sorry, because that's a big number. That's something that we would bear, or the other 5 districts would bear as well?
That's our portion.
That's our portion of the conversion.
Yes.
Okay.
That's more that's if no one else converted, but we're assuming that 3 of those 5 now have agreed to convert.
I'm sorry, I'm getting confused again. So if we're the only ones that convert for $10,000, if other schools convert, it could bring it down.
9,000. It will bring it down some, it won't bring it down more. From 9,000, 2,500,
Still gonna be a large number.
it's still a number.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Okay. Any
Welcome
questions?
back, Tony. Good to see you. Thank you. In the other district that you work for, did they use Dazzle or did they use this one?
Infinte Campus.
And so you've got pretty good working knowledge of everything. Better
I
program?
love Infinte Campus.
Much better program?
Much better program, more capabilities. You can, in the future, you can add on components. They have a lot of products. I mean, it's extra money, but at some point, if you want to house everything in one, you can. It's
Well, I'm
all-
still very fond of DOS, but I guess we have to go to Windows, is what you're saying.
So, and the part of it is that we're trying to mainstream everything. Here we have different components that are feeding into it. You know what I mean? We have IEP Anywhere, we're using PSW. PSW we'll still use for the training components, which are for the discipline, it's all in there. IEP Anywhere, it's in the program. So we've got all these separate parts and pieces out there, which now will all be housed in one package. Sent out to you.
When you say $920 a student, is that an annual cost or is that a one-time cost? How does this work?
And this annual licensing fee.
Okay, so by going over, the only real cost that we incur then is that maximum of $10,000, which is a one-time cost?
Correct. Yes, it's a one-time cost.
Okay. That's great. So it's not like we have some software that we already own that we're just going to toss by the wayside that's doing its job. We have the option to make a choice between 2
Yes.
sets of
Correct,
software.
yes. That's the major part, probably the component is that we talked, it's all housed in one, and along with that, we're not gonna get the support that we need to be able to send the information so that we get the funding back if we want the appropriate funding.
Yeah.
I think the support piece is huge, because there's so few districts now left on Dazzle.
Correct.
There's LGCA, if they abandon support for that, we're stuck. It's almost like buying an automobile and buying new service it. It's not a good situation.
So there will inevitably, though, if we switch over, I mean, there'll be some kind of hiccups on this. And with, who is it, LGCA, I mean, are you able to use the knowledge that other people have gained in the transition and so on to minimize this, so you'll be able to be prepared for
Absolutely.
whatever happens? It's not going to be a surprise like somebody downloads Windows and finds they have no files.
No, it should be good.
We also,
District, right, so she was an experience.
we
Right.
also have the resources of those other districts that have come here before. We really one of the last ones to have it.
So there's lots of expertise out there, and lots of experience to draw on.
Yeah, LGC has done a number of the conversions already, so there is a 9 to 12 month process to do this, so we would be ready by the next school year. So it is cleaning up the data is the biggest component that we have to work with.
So we don't pay double then, because we have two systems.
Yeah.
We're doing conversion. And then the conversion would start next year, 2016. So the big thing in front of us is, it's a wise choice, but it's an expensive one during the year. I think I understand. Thanks, great job, thank you.
Okay.
I'm moving forward with that conversion.
We need a voting line, so we're not.
It's not up to 25,000.
This is
I can-
informative for the board.
This is more than before, but we'd like to have your consensus to move forward.
Shay.
Yeah, I'm on board. I'm on board for that sort of time. And
Yeah, great.
I think we have good job. Good job, thank you.
Safe travel.
Very comfortable. Thank you.
We have 3 presentations tonight, unfortunately, for the board and for the audience. They're all very brief. I had asked Cindy Whiting, she come in tonight and give us a little bit of an update on the food services program. Talk to us a little bit about lessons we've learned over the past year and where we're going, and the fact that we are compliant with the federal guidelines as required. So, Cindy?
Yes. Up there.
Yeah, you come up here.
Sure, why not?
Go into the fancy podium.
Rich asked me to come in and, just confirm that we are compliant with the types of foods and beverages that we sell in the school district. And, I don't know, did everyone make one?
Yes.
Okay, so I just had some examples, we are compliant with Senate Bill 10, and we actually exceed the restrictions because we're part of the National School Lunch Program. There's different examples with the milk, the different grades, the different snacks, and I'm very nervous. I'm not good at this.
Don't be.
But, all the popular companies with all the popular snacks and stuff have, reformulated all their products to fit into school lunches. So basically that's it. And I've been here a long time when there were fryers and pop machines and, vending machines full of candy, and it was really hard transition. Do you remember that, Jay?
Wasn't that long?
No, it wasn't that long ago. And the kids were really going nuts. But our numbers are coming up. I think Mr. Russo's happy. And the high school is looking really good with all the renovations. So,
I was going to ask, how do you like the new cafeteria?
yeah, we really like it a lot.
Is it more functional for you?
Yeah, it was a little tricky at first, but yeah, it's going well.
Have the kids responded?
Yeah, the numbers are up. The a la carte is really up. We have like 2 separate lines now, so.
What about food waste? Because I hear different things in the media. You read one article and it'll tell you that kids love the new meals, they get used to them. And read another article and they'll tell you this is the worst thing that ever happened.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't really know because I'm not out in the lunchroom. Some of the proctors out there might know how many apples or, what they're picking up at the end. Do you think there's a lot of food waste?
I'm there picking up and,
Yeah.
and No, I would have to say that there's very little waste that non-waste.
I mean, especially at the high school, that's where I'm at, I'd love to get around to the other buildings, but, I mean, they're really taking these fruits and vegetables, we really don't put a limit on it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, they can take 2 apples, they can take a juice, they got their entree, it's a lot of food.
Really, that's good.
So, and we're getting our fruits and vegetables from the DOD now, Department of Defense, and we have $10,000 allocated just for the fruits and vegetables.
Cindy, what are the biggest changes in the way that you prepare food now versus 10 years ago?
You know, it's not so much scratch cooking anymore. We don't have the labor. You know, it's a lot of stuff coming in bags, steaming it, a lot like that. You know, most of it's.
How about baked versus fried, et cetera?
We don't, you know, there's no frying at all. We do a lot of steaming, a lot of baking. You know, the chicken products are baked.
Even fries are baked, aren't they? Which is
Fries
sort
are
of-
baked.
which is sort of-
Yes. All the potato products are baked. They like when we have potatoes.
Do our kids look more svelte?
Pardon me?
Do our kids look more svelte?
Yes. So I think it's going well. I mean, we've got 2 more days to get these numbers up. It's almost the end of the
What do
year.
you see as challenges going forward with food services?
I'm hoping the numbers increase enough. It's really hard the way the line is set up. We have 2 cashiers, 1 server. She's kind of bouncing back and forth. Hoping the numbers go up and we can get another person in there. It's pretty nuts right now. The 2 lunches are a little difficult. The lines are pretty long, but we get them through there pretty quickly. So I don't know if that's something that's going to stay like that next year.
Would any economies of scale allow you to offer more things or maybe upgrade the lunches? Is that, or are your costs so close right now?
The costs are pretty close.
Yeah.
You know, if we keep participation up, I don't know, maybe next year we would consider raising some, we haven't raised prices in a very long time. It's kind of late to do that. Maybe more quality.
Yeah,
Yeah, it would be nice to have, you know, some little stations, you know, more like a college setting.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's not in the cards right now. Yeah.
Is there a lot of milk being used, or is
A lot of milk?
Yeah.
Yeah, milk is the only beverage that is part of the meal. If they get water, it's extra. So most kids take milk. And it's fat-free chocolate or 1% white.
Thank you. Thanks for taking the time to do this.
It wasn't bad, see?
Oh.
The last presentation, if you'll humor me here, I'm really not going to stand because just to draw attention to the job descriptions that each of you have in place. You should have 6 job descriptions. 3 are in the areas of maintenance, 3 are in the areas of custodial services. The reason there are 3 of each is not so that you can choose the one you like, but because there are 3 gradations of employees in each of those categories. The latest iterations that I saw of the job descriptions that correspond to those came from, I believe, 1998 and 2003. So it's an upgrade to them. It's been long overdue. This is a bit more comprehensive. It focuses not only on the tasks that the individuals perform in these positions, but also some of the personal qualifications for people who are filling these positions. I'd like you to see these to get an idea of the format that I'm anticipating having before the board as you'll be approving these in the weeks and months to come. The next slate of job descriptions that you'll be receiving will be those for the central office employees. And then from there, we will be certificated in the non-teaching staff. But as I say, we started right now with maintenance and custodial, and we're moving that into the central office. So you have them there. If you'd like to look those over the next week, if you have questions for me or if you have comments, I'd appreciate it if you just give me a call and I can address any that you might have. I think they're pretty self-explanatory. They're, as I say, based upon 3 different classifications we have for custodials and for maintenance individuals. They do all have to be manuals, but we didn't have to for our maintenance personnel at this time.
Moving to superintendent's recommendations.
The first one that we were talking about today basically was the personnel. In personnel, I'm asking that the board approve the appointment of a classified education writer.
This is a replacement for my,
Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? Okay. Any discussion? Roll call?
Dr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Dorsey?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Katsowski?
Next resolution is one for the approval of a volunteer in the library, the middle school.
Okay.
Do we do background checks?
Yes.
Do I have a motion? Second? Okay. Discussion?
Just for the record, anytime an individual comes in as a volunteer where they have the responsibility of supervising children, unless they're under the direct supervision of an employee of ours, that's required to have that check prior to working with our kids.
Roll call?
Mr. Dorsey?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Katsowski?
Yes.
Dr. Phelps?
Yeah. Asking the board tonight to approve the list of district supplemental assignments that's contained in the board packet.
Do I have a motion approved? Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Okay. Roll call?
Dr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Dorsey?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Katsowski?
Yes.
I am asking the board tonight to approve the placement of some field placement students in our schools.
Do I have a motion? Second? Roll call? Or excuse me, discussion?
Field placement student is someone who has an assignment that's a part of their program as a college student. Oftentimes, if they're getting certification for as a psychologist intern, has to have a field placement experience. It's education colleges, and they also come through programs that are designed to train people in specific areas, such as school psychologists. They do work in school as part of their undergrad experience and or graduate experience. And it's during that field placement time they're actually stationed in school working with kids under the direction of a professional in their field.
Okay. Any more discussion? Okay. Roll call?
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Katsowski?
Yes.
Dr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Dorsey?
Yes.
I'm asking tonight that the board approve the certified substitutes listed in the packet.
Okay. Do I have a motion? So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Dorsey?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Katsowski?
Yes.
Dr. Phelps?
Yeah. I'm also asking for approval of those individuals who are listed in the classified substitute list.
I'll make that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Katsowski?
Yes.
Dr. Phelps?
Yeah.
Mr. Dorsey?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Item 6.
Oh, 7, thank you. The next proposal is for a change in contracts under personnel. This is to move an individual on the salary scale from masters plus 30 to masters plus 45.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
Okay. Discussion? Roll call?
Dr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Dorsey?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Katsowski?
Yes.
I'm asking that the board approve the special education services contract with the Geauga County Education Service Center.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Okay, roll call?
Mr. Dorsey?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Katsowski?
Yes.
Dr. Phelps?
Yes. I'm also asking the board approve the related services contract component with the cooperative agreement for provision of comprehensive educational programs.
Second.
Discussion? Okay, roll call?
Dr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Dorsey?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Katsowski?
Yes. Tonight marks the second reading of the policies that are under review by the board. I will, in a few moments, just go through them quickly and tell you what the major changes and provisions are in those contracts, or in those policies, I'm sorry. I'm in the contract mode right now. Policy 2114 is one that states the board's commitment that WestGBrd schools become an A district, and that the superintendent prepare guidelines to determine what it would require for us to be so designated by the Ohio Department of Education. Policy 5114 is one which basically addresses a political correctness component, in which it speaks to the topic of foreign exchange students who are no longer called foreign exchange students. They're now non-immigrant exchange students, and they just become exchange students. But it does set caps on the number of students that we would permit in our high school as exchange students under 5114. 5340 talks about the topic of student accidents. Ben, you were correct last board meeting to point out a paragraph that was not even in my proposal. It was one that we certainly would strike out related to that. But it talks about our need to report, particularly with regard to concussions, same-day reporting, students being prohibited from participation in athletic facilities until they have either a clean bill of health, which is either issued by a physician or other health care provider authorized by the Board of Education, which could be an athletic trainer, someone who is here in a medical capacity working with our kids. 5350 addresses the sad topic of student suicide and speaks of professional development, which is in place in districts to address such factors as risk and warning signs, etc. 5460 is a policy which speaks of graduation requirements and talks about what is required to graduate from high school and some of the possible exceptions to traditional course offerings that can be utilized by students to reach graduation status. 6108 talks about the availability of electronic fund transfers and permits those, a practice which we are planning to utilize here and have been for some time. Yeah. 6320 is one which raises the limit from 5,000 to 7,500 is the amount necessary for which we would get 3 quotes. 8390 is one which speaks on the topic of service animals. That's become a very hot topic in schools because we do have people who, by virtue of their disabilities, of the challenges they face, utilize service animals to serve some of their activities that help them to live a life freer of obstacles. And then the policy 8400 deals with the topic of school safety. So those are the topics that are before you. You've had some time to look them over because we had the first reading 2 weeks ago. This is now the second reading, and I remind you that there is one more reading before the policies become official policies.
Okay, I motion that we have these policies on a second reading. Do we have a second? So any discussion? Ben, are you pretty satisfied then? We'll start. Okay. Thanks. Any more discussion? Okay, roll call.
So the only change will be striking this one paragraph in 5340.
It's already struck in the version of this. So the one that was the one about reporting all accidents.
Yes.
Yeah, that should be.
All right. Mr. Kwiatkowski?
Yes.
Dr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Okay. Treasurer's report, financial.
Okay, if you look at your Treasurer's Report A, this is a listing of the investments we have with the school district. As you know, we did hire the third securities to do additional investments. The investments were conducted in September, and we transferred $3 million over to Fifth Thirds around the first part of September. We have now invested in CDs at this point to further enhance the interest income that we get on those funds. You won't see them in this list, you'll just see our money market account still. Treasurer Report B, this is a cash reconciliation for the district. We have about $19 million in cash at this point in all of our funds. If you look at the FinSum report, which is the next report you have available, you'll notice that the $19,589,000 will agree with our $19,589,000 in the current fund balance. So that's a listing of all the funds that we have, not just our general fund. That includes our permanent closure funds as well. In our report D, this is our operating report. It compares our projected, and again, projected and actual are the same until we get to October when we have our the October report, when we'll have the September budget in. This compares basically what I'd like you to look at is the year-to-date compared to the actual year-to-date last year. You'll notice that we have a couple of variances for this month compared to last year, where we were last year. In the unrestricted grants and aid, that's our state foundation money, we're running a little less than what we had in the prior year. Most of that is tuition between years. What happened last year is the tuition we get from other districts is based on the prior year's numbers. And so they don't true them up until March. So we might have, if we have a change in enrollment, which we did last year, we're paid on a higher number than what we actually had. So they don't true it up until March. And so what happened in March of last year is we started getting zero amount because they don't overpay us. So you're going to see that variance run until March or April timeframe, and then that'll even out. On the other local sources, we're a little bit different because if you recall last year, we received 2 catastrophic payments. The year before, they had failed to pay us on time, so they paid us in 2015 fiscal year. So we had 2 payments, and that was about $200,000. So that's why you see a variance there. You'll see that throughout the year, just in comparison to last year. Now, as far as what budget is, you won't see a variance there. If we look at our expenditures, personnel services, we see slightly above what we had last year. That's in relation to our increases in salary for the pay raise, along with people's step increases there. The employees' retirement and insurance benefits, we're fairly on budget there, comparable. And then if we look at purchase services, there's a larger variance from where we were spending last year, primarily dealing with the ESC. If you recall last year when we looked at the end of the year financials, the ESC was was slow in giving us some of their bills. We closed the books, and therefore we had a bill that's coming due in this time. That's about almost $300,000 was what we ended up paying from last year into this year. We'll maybe hold those books open a little longer, but we try to get them closed, so we'll see what that happens. And then debt service, that's the election cost associated with that variance is associated there as well. The good news is the Ohio School Council sent us a little note saying that we have spent less money on our natural gas, and we'll have about a $32,000 credit going into this year. So that's a very positive note for us. So we haven't any gas bills yet. If we look at our treasurer's report E, Cindy was referring to some of where we were on our revenues. Our student lunches at this point are running about $23.5 as compared to last year's $18.5, so we're a little ahead of where we were. And that's part of starting at school. We'll see those everybody's turning in their money at that point. And then our expenditures are running a little ahead of that, primarily related to raises in those in some of our workers, and then our supplies are a little bit ahead at this point as well. So that'll come up. Treasurer's Report F, we have a listing of all the grants that we received or money that we received in auxiliary funds and federal grants. Hawken and St. Anselm's, this is their first payment. They'll get another payment in February, and they'll get one in November. So this is their first payment that they received from the state. Our federal grants, the race to the top has been completed. We filed our final expenditure report, and so that's the last of that money. And then the last 3 grants, the IDEA grant, the Title I, the Title II, that's the end of fiscal year 15, not ready for fiscal 16. So those will be closed as well. We filed those final expenditure reports this last week. So we'll get an additional payment from them before we start into the 16 money. Project Achieve, Jay has been asking people for money, and people have responded very positively. So we have about $6,600 for our Project Achieve to get that up and running at the high school. That completes the financial reporting.
How are we looking at the Project Achieve?
That's great. The cafe chief, talking cafe chief.
Oh,
The cafes, Friday of last week, the cabinet was installed, and it's looking really nice. And I have a guy, friend of Stone actually, is coming out tomorrow to measure the cabinets out there, install the space for countertops. So if the countertops is granite or a solid surface, it's not going to be completely donated, but we are getting, I think, the labor donated for that. So hopefully, it will be ready to go here in the next couple of weeks. It's gonna be a nice collaborative effort and project between a lot of different groups.
That's awesome. If you guys, if you go think about it, should have seen it.
Yeah, we're planning on putting something together and
That's
to
great.
kind of describe it and talk about the things that we have in there.
I've been on some of the trail, trail, when they've gone to different groups to ask for money. I think it's just been tremendous. I really appreciate the extra effort. I was actually at a Kiwanis meeting where they made a presentation, and it really was nice. And Kiwanis, I think, stepped up as well. So,
They did, you know, a lot of parents, I mean, I presented this idea to a group of parents, and they kind of just worked with me and took it over, honestly, in terms of the fundraising efforts, the organizing, and a lot of the things that would have taken much of my time to do. They collaboratively worked with me, however, went ahead and differently done in order to make it happen. It's been great, it's been a great project.
it's a great community. Well, nice job. Thank you for all your hard work.
We are expecting an article to be released probably next week to the newspaper, so highlighting this, I spoke about it this morning in a meeting with Kim. And then Jay and I have also talked about putting something together so that maybe next year at OSBA, this will be one of the examples of a school community partnership.
Nice job. Nice job. Thank you. Thanks. The PR piece too, that's near and dear to my heart. Thank you. Do I have, we need a motion here? Okay.
I have a question for Karen about the redacted names and check register. Is that for the HIPAA and FERPA requirements?
HIPAA.
Okay, so we're in treasurer's recommendations.
You have a listing of the office checks, and as Mr. Douglas noticed, there are some dark items, so we'll have those redacted for HIPAA purposes.
Karen, do we need approval as well for those?
We do. These will have to.
Do I have a motion for August checks?
We'll move.
I'll second it. Discussion? Okay, roll call.
Mr. Katsowski?
Yes.
Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Dorson?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
We've been announced statements. We have a couple of items that we purchased and didn't quite get that purchase order in just in time. One of them, the largest one, is the Aspire. This is a testing document for some tests that we had to order for the high school. We're changing up our testing. So we've ordered a different test, and now we have to decide on which one would be more appropriate for our, is this for the 10th graders? For 10th graders?
Aspire will be at 8th grade, and PSAT 10 will be given at 10th grade this
So
year.
we changed up kind of how we're doing some testing, so.
Okay, PSAT, that was the evaluation piece.
So PSAT 10 is literally housed by the same organization as the SAT, PSAT and SAT. And Jay and I, gosh, I don't even know when, last month, I don't know. We went and heard a presentation about it, and it offers our teaching staff some additional pieces of the puzzle that Aspire does not. I mean, the vehicle is the same. You do it all as whole grade testing in order to identify readiness for AP programming, in order to help students select careers that are of interest. There's, a number of reasons that you would utilize the test. We've opted to try out the PSAT 10 at 10th grade because we thought it was a good fit to get students ready for the PSAT. And obviously that's what we take in terms of the National Merit Finalist testing. So we wanted to give children an opportunity to see the test at a 10th grade level. But also it offers our teaching staff a lot of vehicles for good instruction and some kind of programmatic assessment information that we are going to have someone come actually for a PD day and work with our high school staff in terms of this is what it offers you in the classroom for your instruction. So we thought that there were some benefits that we hadn't seen with necessarily the Aspire, so we're trying it out at 10th grade first, sticking with 8th grade Aspire, and then we'll make decisions based on that this year.
That's great.
We have more information on our school's website. It's a letter to the community with that.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the nominee?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Okay, roll call?
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Katsowski?
Yes.
Dr. Fox?
Yes.
The next item is statement of purpose and budget for the high school drama, high school robotics, high school yearbook, destination imagination, and the girls basketball. All of these are fundraisers and for student activities. So the first item C is you're approving the statement and budget that we approve, and then the next one is actually approving supplemental appropriations. One of the two votes.
Okay, statement of purpose and budget, I move. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Katsowski?
Yes.
Dr. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
And so do I have a motion for supplemental appropriations as listed?
So moved.
I'll second. Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Katsowski?
Yes.
Dr. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
Item E is a listing of all the blanket purchase orders that we issued from September 9th to September 23rd.
Do I have a motion to approve the blanket purchase orders? I'll motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion? Okay, roll call?
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Katsowski?
Yes.
Dr. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
Item F is an approval of Fisher and Phillips legal counsel. Sarah Moore, who was previously with Drexel, has moved to Fisher and Phillips. They are a top firm in employment law. So we'd like to move, we have to transfer our files from Drexel over to Fisher, so there is some paperwork to do that, and we'd like to approve them as a council.
Okay, Mr. Douglas, would you like to make that motion?
So moved.
I'll second it. Any discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Katsowski?
Yes.
Dr. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Okay, standing committees. Tom, did you get a chance to?
But their enthusiasm. and
Sorry about that.
No, I thought it was awesome. But two things that I thought were really moving forward with the professional learning community model and trying to keep the standards the same at all schools, especially elementary schools. And I think they're reaching out this year more and more to do some field learning in different schools, like kind of take some of the best from Solon and different school environments collaboratively, and also reaching out to find out best practices. And I really like the implementation of this career policy track that they're working on, going from age-appropriate career guidance, if you want to call it, starting in grade school. I know Westwood just had their what they officially call your career,
Project Real World.
yeah, Project Real World. And so I think that's the kids I know who come in my office love that. I would imagine parents who come there and share with them. But we talked about there's things that could be done, maybe more things that could be done, especially going through the middle school and high school level.
Well, congratulations, because I think we talked about this before. I was at another board meeting where they decided they were just going to forego that state recommendation, and you took it on head first. I think that's awesome. Congratulations, thank you. The PSAT portion of what we just talked about, I think we had some discussion last year about some evaluation pieces to look at where our kids were needing to go, depending on what kind of track. Is this part of that falling into place? Okay. And this is then the SAT, the SAT scoring. Is there a component for the ACT scoring? Because isn't there SAT is sort of East Coast, ACT is sort of Midwest? Is that still whole? I mean, I'm talking from 25 years ago.
Right, I don't think so. I mean, we're looking at something that our teachers can utilize in the classroom. I mean, that was, I think, the piece that was the top seller for, I don't know, I don't want to speak for you, Jay, feel free to speak up. But I think when we went and heard the representative from the College Board, the way that we were utilizing Aspire was much more kind of a one-hit wonder, where we're looking at scores and not doing much more beyond, here's where the score range is and here's where we can predict the score range would be. This model, the PSAT 10, looks at by content and offers individualized classroom teachers some connections, and also they've now kind of added this plus with Khan Academy that gives them some actual instructional models coupled with student test scores that we feel like can kind of close the circle rather than just be this kind of singular lens that's non-usable. You know, typically it's been guidance staff using it. Classroom teachers don't really get a hold of the data to make any kind of great usage out of it in terms of teaching and learning with kids. And so we're looking for a way to close that gap. We think the College Board has this very interesting program to achieve it. We know other districts that are starting to, that have looked at it, and we went and met with them. And he actually, our representative, Joe Burgo from College Board, is coming to meet with our teaching staff at the high school level on October 19th. So he'll be able to start closing some of the gaps with our instructors. And they're really the ones that can utilize the data more meaningfully for students anyway. So that was really the lead.
Is this some of that after hours work you two have been doing? Thank you. This is great.
That was actually during class. That was during hours.
There are a couple of benefits that we have to get on. I don't mean to sound condescending, but they might have sort of escaped some here tonight. That is that the PSAT is the door through which students enter when they're pursuing national merit scholarships. It's the PSAT scores that determine whether students are commended scholar, national merit scholarships, and finalists, national merit scholarship winner. Those students are ones, if you look at the top performing districts in the area, they have sizable numbers of students who have achieved that honor. We've been underrepresented in that area, and we'd like to change that. So we're hoping this could get kids more into the track of taking the PSAT as a means to achieve that status for themselves and for their families, and of course corresponding to the rest of the district also. And Nancy did mention this, I heard her, but we said it quickly, and that is that the PSAT is probably one of the most reliable indicators of suitability for AP courses. You know, we've said that one of our goals as a district is to increase the number of students enrolled in AP courses, but not every student is a viable candidate for AP. And certainly we want to offer a curriculum that meets the needs of all of our students. But the PSAT is a good way, if you look at how students score on PSAT, you have a pretty good idea of which ones are suitable candidates for an AP curriculum, so that you're not misplacing kids in AP just to get your numbers up. But you're actually putting kids in, you have a good chance of success in the AP curriculum. So those are other benefits. And I know you mentioned them, I was just sort of being repetitious.
Tom, thank you. Thanks for taking the time. Thank you for it. Awesome. It seems like Karen and I talk kind of on an almost daily basis of some of the finances. And I know that was somewhat painful to say when we made money on the gas bill. Thank you for doing that. Saved money. I look at it as making money. 32,000 is 32,000, right? That's awesome. So
I have nothing to do.
that's okay. Sometimes we have nothing to do with the expenses that are incurred. So awesome. Ben, how about operations?
Well, we're nothing but some of the projects that's worth having a meeting on. So if anybody, only one person can attend without it being a meeting, but if anybody wants to attend with me, I'm going to set up a meeting. We can find the time. That'll work.
How are we doing on that concrete project we were doing from, I think, from the boosters stand to the guest? How does that work? Is that going to be done for homecoming?
Oh, yeah, definitely. They're probably 90% done.
Nice. We did a path, a concrete path from the boosters concession stand So our guests don't have to walk through grass to get to the stands, to the bleachers. That's great. Good deal. We'll have to look at some point of maybe doing that for our own, down the road. But that gravel is pretty good for right now.
Right.
Yeah, it's just walking.
Most of our home pro comes in with a gate as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, having that gate there, I think may promote people to start using that area.
Should. And soon we'll be seeing gates on the gates. And we installed gates on both the Kilway and the Curtis
Curtis
gates.
gate. I know that they're going to be putting in some bleacher seating. We had talked tomorrow around 7 o'clock. They're going to take some of the seats off of the top area to make sort of reserved seating. We had talked about trying a sort of pilot program and seeing how that works. Obviously, they're going to keep the bleachers in case that doesn't work the way that they see it, but another way to generate revenue for them. Awesome. Okay, personnel committee. Probably our approval of Sarah moving over to the new firm is probably the hottest topic for personnel. Keeping her as part of our team. And Jackie obviously has worked with Dr. Markworth. That's why we did the policies we did. She, I think, talked to us about the last meeting. She walked around with her schedule. Okay, moving on to new business.
There's several projects that we're contemplating right now in the area of home improvement category. There's several things that obviously we want to focus on as a district as potential needs and then looking at ways to remedy those needs. One is our HVAC system. We have a host of rooftop units that Jim can attest are nearing the end of their normal life cycle. So rather than waiting high and dry when they completely conk out, we're watching this pretty closely with the idea of being proactive as they approach their demise, replacing them strategically so that we keep our HVAC capacities up and running. Another area of need is that of our district restroom facilities. If you look district-wide throughout the schools, you'll find that many of our restrooms are truly showing their age. Jim, I think you've tagged over the next several years $80,000 a year for renovation of the
For
restroom.
the next 5 years.
Yeah, for the next 5 years, that's a sizable investment in our district's restrooms, and that has been on the books for some time. I know that just recently we heard concern voiced by an individual about the restrooms. Well, it's been on Jim's radar for some time, even before concerns were voiced, and we've been looking at that and with the idea of coming up with a remedy for those. Whether that'll be the amount we'll begin with, I'm not sure. We're going to be somewhat strategic in terms of which restrooms we focus on too, because we won't obviously be able to replace all of them in 1 year, or we'll be bringing back out houses and porta potties. So we will have to be strategic and systematic when we approach the restroom renovation. And then also another area that we're looking at is transportation. We need to maintain our fleet at a repair level and at an age level where the fleet can easily be managed. And so we've been focusing on that for the last several years. Technology, certainly we've been putting quite a bit of money into technology. I know that Sean's been shepherding that process. There was an article in the newspaper, I believe, about a week ago that basically stated, the board had spent approximately $360,000 on technology, and highlighting what some of the benefits from that were for our students. Now, as we also will be rolling out some new technology for our staff, I think we'll see that process continue in the months and years ahead as we move forward.
Yeah, these are all things that we talked about in our retreat, and I think now we have some traction and some timelines as to when these kind of things can be done. I really appreciate that. And I also appreciate that we're getting our story out. Too often I've been vocal about us not saying the good things that we're doing. I do appreciate reading the articles of having, well, enrollment is declining. We had the least amount of decline last year. We highlighted that in that article. We've had more students coming into our district. That was a great positive. Still at a deficit, but still not at an area where it was in years before. So I really appreciate that. As well as, Sean, thank you. I mean, he and I do, it's a pet project as well, talk about that often. All the people that he's reaching out to get us numbers and to look at how they're going to work. So thank you. We really do appreciate it. Any questions? Okay. Well, our next board meeting will be October 14th. It will be a regular board meeting. It will be in the board office community room. And so that will be a new look for us. It won't be in this room that you're in today. We will actually be next door. So hopefully we'll get to see you and we'll have some kind of special ceremony for that. And do I have a motion to adjourn? A second? Second. Okay, roll call.
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
Mr. Beckles?
Yes.
Mr. Katsowski?
Yes.
Dr. Thomas?
Yes.